Good morning, Eastern Youth Network. Good morning, fellow youths in the cause of truth. Good morning, beloved brothers and sisters out there. Good morning, Africa. Today, I am discussing an important aspect of Igbo culture, who we are, and the symbols as associated in our culture. And that discussion today for the Igbo culture is what we call Omenala dị n'ala Igbo. Omenala ọdịnala Igbo, maọbụ omenala dị n'ala Igbo, maọbụ omenala ọdịnala Igbo. That is omenala. Ọ bụrụ na ga, if we understand the omenala, then you will now begin to understand who you should do the omenala for. Today, ụbọchị taa anyị na-ekwu okwu banyere omenala Igbo. Ọ bụ gịnị bụ omenala Igbo? Ọ bụ gịnị bụ omenala? Omenala ha nke dị n'ala Igbo, ọ gịnị bụ omenala? Ọ bụrụ na asị gị dịka nwa okorobịa gị kọwaa ihe bụ omenala. Ụbọchị taa anyị na-eme ka ịghọta, anyị na-achọ ime ka ịghọta, anyị na-akụziri gị ihe bụ omenala. Omenala Igbo nke emere, omenala Igbo nke a na-eme, omenala Igbo nke emere eme. Ọ bụ gịnị bụ omenala n'ala Igbo? In the English translation, we are discussing about the ceremonial worship of Igbo culture, omenala Igbo. What is that ceremonial worship? What is the omenala? Why is the ceremony? Of what reason was the ceremony or is the ceremony? It is common in Igbo culture that we have always a ceremonial system which gave birth to celebrations, oftenly in the name or in the guise of one thing or the other. We make a ceremony. It is part of our worship. And now, of what purpose was the ceremony performed? Number one, the ceremony is performed in marriage. Number two, the ceremony is performed in burial. Number three, the ceremony is performed in one act or the other, or in one elevation or the other, in the culture and religious necromancy of the Igbo culture. Omenala Igbo. So today we are defining that ceremony. We are defining that part of our cultural existence. We are defining that part of our cultural worship as has to do with the presentation of the material physical in the phrenology of the existence of mankind. That is what we are discussing today. In the necromancy of all lights, in the constitution of all truth, in the order of all rock, and that of all supreme that exists according to the governing act that God has kept. We are making this known to the world that a people of this independent nature require a way of livelihood and existence. Omenala Igbo. By the time you understand the omenala Igbo, you will understand that the culture or religions of this Igbo or black race is different and exceptional. None like it all over the world, and that is the key to the light that the world seek. Igbo culture, the omenala Igbo. It is same in the four corners of the earth. In the omenala Igbo, what is omenala Igbo? Omenala Igbo bụ emume mere dịka esiri mee ya bụ ndị mere eme. Omenala Igbo bụ emume mere dịka esiri mee ya bụ ndị mere eme. Emume ahụ emere ọ bụ gịnị n'omenala ahụ? The omenala is the ceremonial act performed according to the performance of the ancients. You see, for example, in the ceremony of burial, the real burial in the culture is not when the corpse or the disease is lowered to the Mother Earth. The main burial is the ceremony performed before the burial. You see, in Igbo culture, what is this ceremony? That the man might have a peaceful passage and have a place in the kingdom of the Father. That is the reason for the ceremony, as that associated with the burial. That man might have a peaceful passage and have a place in the kingdom of the Father, without which that man will not have a place, and neither will he have a peaceful passage, but remain in the darkness, revolving eternally, never able and ever never able to find the light. So Igbo culture, the omenala Igbo, is what propels the salvation of mankind. Emume mere dịka emere na mbụ bụ ndị mere eme. Emume ahụ emere a nakwa eme ya n'ọdịnala dị iche iche a ga-eme emume. That is why in a ceremony there is drink. In a ceremony there is food. In a ceremony there is all kind of approach in act, in decency, in decree, and in the acronym of all necromancy as has to do with that particular ceremony. Now, let me cite another ceremony of a good importance that I have taught. I would love to point out Agwishi, but I have not taught you about Agwishi. But I have taught you about Ewumri. So let me now take Ewumri as an inside example on that omenala as regards to Ewumri. The drink that you purchase during this ceremony that the people drink, because this has to do with a spiritual pre-existence, which in the gospel canon they call it a premortal life. So in Igbo culture, we believe in the premortal existence of the mortal energy to activate the will of the present in the process of establishing who we are and what we are and how we have come to establish that we are. This is what it means in Igbo culture, omenala Igbo. It's not that the drink, without the drink, there will not be omenala. No, that drink must be there because there is a drink offering. in all things, there must be a drink offering in the omenala. The drink offering is what I will teach you as we connect it all to that which Christ has come to fulfill. That he died does not end anything, but he fulfills all things. He never ended anything. Rather, he fulfilled all things as that which is connected to the blood of sacrifice, which is to redeem mankind from darkness. That is the work of his sacrifice. That is the price of his blood. That the powers of darkness, by the blood, will let loose the captivity of the souls of men. And that he has accomplished. And the Bible recorded that there was joy in heaven. Even when he was born, there was joy on earth. People celebrated. Have you asked yourself, what triggers the ceremony? There was a ceremony in the ceremony of the proclamation of his existence. There was a banquet. Let me use the word. Omenala Igbo. Let me classify it in the order of let me say, the order light, the Masonic light. Let me describe it in the order of the Masonic light. In the Masonic experience, the banquet, that after labor, we go for banquet. You see, from banquet, we go on to labor. So that ceremony, that omenala, is the banquet of decision for proclamation and the decree of the existence of what is and what is to be. I think this might sound a little bit Masonic in understanding. So I want the Masons to know that the practice that they do in their lodges is the omenala Igbo. Now, this omenala, these ceremonies, these are ceremonies in the working, is ceremonial working. Okay, let me put it that way, ceremonial working. I want you to understand what omenala Igbo stands. It is the ceremonial workings into decree of decree, and as decreed in the decree that was and that will be. You see, this is what the omenala Igbo stands for. So when we do the omenala, we activate that decree for which has been decreed, which were before we were. So if we don't do the ceremonies, we will not advance in strength, in power, and in exaltation towards the attainment of the power and the glory of that indivisible being which we call God. So the ceremonies gives us a central hold to the tripod of authority. That is the ceremony. Because each of the tribe and the portals were opened or binded together by the process of a ceremony. To the attainment of that power and that order, you will perform that ceremony in the omenala, of which it is called Omedrungi Bia Medru, Yeridungi Bia Ridru. That is the omenala Igbo. There are things to be presented in the process of the ceremonial ritual. The decree passed, the act performed, and the science illuminated becomes the decrinological science of that ceremony, of which the decree binds all against odds, against that which has been made, which was according to the authority that was used to decree. That is the omenala Igbo. Ekike is different from omenala Igbo. Ekike, that is magical act, is different. completely. That is what we mean by ekike. Ekike in our culture is magical art, a kind of charm. No, it is a different institution altogether. What we are talking about today is the institution of the Omenala Igbo, the root and the strength of all energy. Because the Omenala is the symbol of the decree. Omenala is the symbol of the knowledge. Omenala is the symbol of the science, according to that which is the Trinity, the chronological science. Decree, knowledge, and science in one. So, in that ceremony, at every given step of the ceremony, a decree is passed in the performance of a science which has to do with human presence as fruits of the tree of life. Omenala Igbo is that which manifested the tree of life. And until for mankind to attain unto that glory, he or she must pass through that ceremonial approach according to the ancient order to be able to attain or access that inner energy of creation. That is Omenala Igbo. So it has branches. The Omenala is not because you took alligator pepper and they talk and throw away. It's rubbish. Nonsense. That is not Omenala. That is just your act. That Omenala Igbo is not when you take drink and begin to libate and make your prayers. Yes, is Omenala Igbo. But you told Obala one mind before I got one mind. You told Obala. N'ihi na ọ bụ na o mere ihe ibi ya mere, ya eriekwa ihe ibi ya riri. O wee gburugburu dịlaghachi. So, these ceremonies in Omenala is what attain us to some certain functions in the relationship of mankind and the worship of the God. If you look at my costume this morning, you will understand that ordinarily, I am a native doctor. Yes. And I look, to some people, I look demonic. To some people, I look angelic. To some people, I look fearful. To some people, I think I look one thing or the other to one person or the other. But I want to teach you the symbols of this Omenala Igbo in my leg area or in the costume before me. In the ancient order of the ceremonial rituals performed for creation of all things, which has to do with the life and what life will be sustained with. They gathered, which were God, in the form of this nature, with a symbol of the eye as all-seeing eye, to the glory of the three great kings. And then they assemble in their energy and make it to be in order of degree that which was not, and make it to be in order of degree from that which were unto that which also was not, until all things were made in a different time according to one ceremony or the other. Before any decree is passed, a ceremony is performed. So these ceremonies, as associated with creation, is what the energy that disturbs the Igbo man and that which has to do with that Bushi, Owumli, and what have you in the world. I will teach you one by one. I want you to understand that our culture is the key of life. The Igbo man culture is the key of life. That is where you will find peace. I want the world to give us chance. Let our culture stand as an independent nation and see if the glory of heaven will not be made visible here on earth once again. I know these things to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And I testify before you in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, and in the name of the Holy Spirit. Subscribe with us, Eastern Youth Network. Work with us. We want you to understand if our teaching does not correspond in your culture as that which has to do with the black race. We are numbered, and that God is called Amadioha. And he has sent me to teach you the ways of the kingdom. He has sent me to prepare you, that you might know the God that have given you the freedom and have made you great now and always. He is Amadioha. I don't know the name you want to call him in English. I don't know how you want to address him in your language. But as that which Igbo man know, which has made us who we are, we call him Amadioha. He is the supreme of all. And in the Bible that you and I read, he is the God of whom they ascribe or describe as the King of all kings. He is Amadioha. He has sent me to teach you, and I will teach you the right principles of our culture, that you might be prepared to usher in his new government. Like what we are doing, and also dislike what we say. Challenge our word so that we can be able to teach you more. Not in the form of tyranny, but ask and that ye might receive any mystery that you wanted for in the culture of the black man. Come, we will reveal it unto you in the name of the Most High. I beseech of thee. Amen.